I am gravely concerned in listening to your testimony, the degree to which you sound like you're still representing Donald Trump as his lawyer. Your criticism of the department, for example, filing a superseding indictment in the January 6th prosecution after a Supreme Court case so that the indictment would conform with that opinion, is the kind of objection I would expect to hear from a criminal defense lawyer, not the kind of statement I would expect to hear from a deputy attorney general. Now, Ms. Bondi, as attorney general, one of her first acts, established the Orwellian-sounding weaponization working group. In her memo, it says that the work of this weaponization group will be supported by the Office of the Deputy Attorney General. That is the office that you will occupy. Would you agree that it would be a blatant conflict of interest as his criminal defense lawyer, as someone who has a continuing legal obligation to him as a former client, for you to participate in any of the work of that group as it pertains to the January 6th case that you represented him, or the Mar-a-Lago case where you represent him, or Alvin Bragg's office where you represent him? You would agree that that would be a very blatant conflict of interest?
I don't necessarily agree with that. There will be a conflict of interest potentially, but I quibble with the word blatant. And it depends on, I mean, I
take out the word blatant.
Welcome back, Patriots. I'm sitting here watching this Judiciary Committee hearing, and I am honestly losing my mind. We just watched Adam Schiff, the king of the Russia hoax himself, try to tell Todd Blanche, a man with a great legal record, that he's acting too much like a lawyer. I mean, are you serious? We're talking about a guy who really understands the Constitution, and Schiff is sitting there acting like it's wrong to give a strong defense for a client. It's just sad. Schiff is so used to the D.C. swamp where everyone goes along with his planned drama that when he meets a real legal expert like Blanche, he doesn't know what to do. Blanche is standing strong, not letting himself get pushed around by these tricky words, and you can already see Schiff starting to get nervous. He's trying to set a trap, but Blanche is just stepping around it like it's nothing. Stay here, because we're going to watch the rest of this mess, and I'm going to show you exactly how Todd Blanche makes Adam Schiff look like a total beginner. Let's jump into the...
But isn't it a clear conflict of interest? You've represented him in these cases. You acknowledge you still have a continuing obligation to him in these cases. How could you possibly oversee an investigation or review of the prosecutors in these cases when you handled them? How is that not the most obvious conflict of interest?
I am not saying I can or I cannot. I'm saying I'm not going to say to you today, Senator, yes, there's a blatant conflict of interest.
Well, why?
I don't know what the work is.
Well, can't you acknowledge that if you're asked to supervise cases involving your own cases, that would be a conflict of interest?
That's a very different hypothetical. Certainly.
No, it's not hypothetical. You're subject to the order of the Attorney General now to support that working group. That working group is going to look at the January 6th cases and the Mar-a-Lago case, the cases you worked on. So can you acknowledge it would be a conflict for you to oversee that work?
What I'm not acknowledging is the broad strokes you're giving it. That work, for example. There will be conflicts, and I will not violate my ethical obligations.
Well, let me just ask you with great specificity, will you recuse yourself from overseeing the January 6th case, the Mar-a-Lago case, and the Alvin Bragg case? Will you recuse yourself from the working group's supervision of those investigations?
I will follow the rules as told to me by the experts, career prosecutors in the department when it comes to every recusal.
I've heard that.
But it's true.
Well, it may be true in the abstract.
No, it's not abstract. It's true.
Well, here's the thing, Mr. Blanche, which you well know. You may very well get some opinion of an ethics lawyer appointed by the administration to tell you that you can exercise your discretion. If you believe it's a conflict, you can say you won't participate. If you don't, you can participate. So you may have discretion. So I'm asking you, how will you exercise that discretion? Will you recuse yourself from overseeing an investigation into matters where you are his lawyer? That shouldn't be hard.
You just gave a purely hypothetical, because the hypothetical
this is not hypothetical. This is in black and white. It says, and I will read it, I hereby establish the Weaponization Working Group, which will be led by the Office of the Attorney General and supported by the Office of the Deputy Attorney General. So this is what you're going to be asked to do. If you are given the discretion of overseeing cases in which you are his lawyer, will you recuse yourself?
It depends. The hypothetical you just described said that a career ethics attorney tells me I do not have to recuse for whatever reason. Because again, we are talking about hypotheticals. If the career Justice Department attorney says to me, you do not have to recuse yourself, I'm not going to sit here today and say that I will still say I will recuse myself.
I mean, that answers my question. You don't think it's a conflict of interest sufficient that you would sitting here today, tell me
That's
that
not
you
what
were.
I said.
Yeah, no, I get it. I find it remarkable where we are.
Well, you're restating something I didn't say, Senator.
I find it remarkable that you feel there's any world in which you could somehow participate in an investigation of people where you represented the president in that same investigation.
I didn't say
Well, you're not willing to commit to recusal, so that means you're willing to entertain supervising that work.
I said I would follow the law.
No,
I'm not sure what.
Mr. Blanch, I understand everybody just say generically they'll follow the law. But I've asked you a simple question about whether you will preserve evidence, and you can't say yes.
No.
You can't say yes.
I hope every single DOJ attorney, political, career, or anybody, would say they would follow the rules.
Man, that was a perfect example of how to deal with a political trickster. If you are an American who follows politics and cares about the law, you should be cheering right now. Todd Blanche just schooled Adam Schiff, and Schiff didn't even realize what was happening until it was over. Think about what we just saw. Schiff spent the whole time trying to make Blanche agree to a clear conflict of interest. He's using these heavy, confusing words, and honestly, it's kind of funny for someone like Schiff to call anything confusing like that. Blanche isn't falling for it. He's like, wait, I don't agree with that word clear. That's lawyer talk for I see what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. The best part is Schiff keeps trying to make Blanche promise he will step away based on a bunch of what-if questions and made-up situations. He wants a catchy line. He wants something he can use in his next fundraising email. But Todd Blanche, he's a professional. He basically tells him, I'm going to follow the law and listen to real ethics experts at the DOJ, not a biased politician who's been wrong about big investigations for the past 8 years. You can see Schiff's face around the 4-minute mark. He's holding up that paper like it proves everything. And Blanche is just sitting there, totally calm. He knows the law. He knows his rights. He knows his limits. Schiff is used to people giving in when he points fingers and acts all important. But Blanche is like a solid wall. What we are seeing here is the difference between a political joker and a serious professional. Schiff is playing games. Blanche is talking about the law. Schiff wants a show. Blanche wants a Justice Department that actually works. It's very clear. The more Schiff tries to play his silly games, the more he shows everyone what we have known about him for a long time. A complete joke. Todd Blanche is exactly the kind of person we need in D.C. Someone who won't get scared, won't play these trick games, and knows exactly how to make these swamp people look silly. Tell me in the comments, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did Schiff look like a clown today? Don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got a lot more coming. Peace.